course, the second that I sit down, the sun is like actually starting to come out of the clouds a little bit. So the lighting might get a little harsh here, but we're gonna film this anyways right now. Is anyone else still decompressing from the Euphoria finale last night? Because I am unwell. I'm not entirely satisfied, and I can't wait to talk about it tonight with my friend Katie, my co-host of my podcast Popcorn Chats. We've been covering Euphoria episode by episode throughout the season, and my notes from last night are so, like, I have a feeling this week's episode for that pod is gonna be so long. So much to talk about, but I won't spoil anything here in case if you all are not Euphoria watchers, because I know not everyone is. You're all here for the books, so let's talk about them. Let's see here. I read 16 books this month, which is pretty miraculous when I counted them up, because I was in a slump at the start of the month. I did not even finish a book until like the 7th day of the month or something. Like, it took me a long time to get into my reading this month, and I was just kind of like not vibing with what I was reading. And I think because January I read so many long books that this month I just needed like a reprieve. I needed some quicker ones, and I found some quicker ones, and they just got me back on track. So I got 16 books, a ton of 5 stars again. Let's jump in. So I started out the month with one of my most anticipated releases of 2022, and that is Avicii's biography, Tim, the official biography of Avicii. I've been highly anticipating this book. If anyone knows me, I only listen to EDM with like a few exceptions here and there, but like really only dance music. And back when I first found dance music, when I was in like 8th grade or something, like Avicii was one of the first artists that I found. Oh, sorry, now my nose is so itchy. Darn cat hair. I just got like a bunch up in my face because I was petting Arya right before this. I was a huge Avicii fan. I was so devastated when I found out that he died. And this is just like a very honest look from like an outsider's perspective into his life, from like his very beginnings in his childhood to like the start of making music and kind of his rise in the industry, and then all the way up through the end of his life. And oh, I cried so many times reading this. I gave this book 5 stars. I have a full like in-depth review on my Goodreads about it, and I also have like a post on my Instagram about it as well. And I always leave like my Goodreads, Instagram, TikTok, everything down below in the description box. So I don't really think I need to go into this much more, and also I doubt it's a book that a lot of you guys are going to pick up, but just for me personally, it was almost like closure that I needed. And a lot of talk about mental health, and especially mental health in musicians and just like the demands of the industry, and especially mental health in men too, when it's just like not as commonly talked about. It made me so sad, but also it, like I said, it did almost feel like closure in an odd way, which was, it was extremely well done. I loved it. Now we're taking a dark route, Hunting Adaline by H.G. Carlton. This is book 2 in the cat and mouse duet. You have to read Haunting Adaline before this one. Like, you can't just jump into this one. It's not a standalone, it's a duet, babes. And this was so good. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I much preferred this one over the first one, and I think because this one picks up immediately where the first one leaves off, which I'm not going to say how that is, but if you read the first book, you know that there's a giant cliffhanger that it ends up on, and we don't waste any time jumping back into that, and I appreciated that. I love being right in the thick of the action from the beginning. The stuff that Addie goes through in this book is so insanely dark. So please, please, please check triggers for this one. Even if you read the first one and you're like wanting to read this one, please just note that, because it is much darker than the first one, specifically with Addie's character. So just take care of yourself first before reading books. I liked Addie's journey in this. I know obviously it sounds like horrible to say that it's like I liked it, but I liked where this book went. I liked the 2 different stories that we had going on between Zaid's and Addie's lives, and like where they were both at in this book. I can't say too much without spoiling things, so I really will kind of leave it vague, but I thought the pacing of it was really good. I loved that it was not like, there was no quick resolutions in this, I will say, which I really liked. It's a thick boy. It was like, what, 600 pages again? Which at the end, I did kind of think that some of the stuff dragged a bit. However, I just truly think Addie's growth over the course of these 2 books was insane and so well done. And I really loved how H.D. Carlton wrote Addie's character and also wrote Zaid. Like, Zaid took Touch Her and I'll Kill You to next fucking level in this one. In the first book, I didn't like love him. I thought he was fine, but I was like, I don't really get why everyone's like obsessing over Zaid. Oh, in this one, I'm like, okay, Zaid, okay. I loved it. I thought this was like the perfect finale to this duet. Next was The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. I don't know how to pronounce Chantal's last name, so sorry. But anyways, this I ended up giving, did I give it 3.5 or did I give it 3? I know I gave it 3 on Goodreads. I'm just trying to remember if it was like more of a 3.5 or a 3-star read for me. It was right around that ballpark. So this is a dark college, secret society, toxic kind of time, which sounds right up my alley. And it was. At the beginning, I was really living for this. And then the plot just got messy, like really messy. And then I kind of like lost interest in the characters. And I don't know. By the end of it, I was just kind of like ready to be done with it. This one follows Riot and Blakely, and Riot has been like trained to be a lord his whole life. And it's like at college, there's like a society of the lords, and you have to go through like a 4-year induction. And then by the time that you're at your senior year, you get to be given like a chosen one that gets to be like your woman for a year, and she has to like do whatever you say. Like I said, it's toxic, people. Okay, real life, I would be like, no thank you. But in this book, I want to be entertained. So Blakely is dating another lord, but he does not choose her for his chosen one. Riot does, and that like causes some issues. And like her boyfriend / ex-boyfriend is like a huge dick. We don't stand. I don't even remember what his name is. His name is trash. Anyways, it kind of, I can't really even say too much plot-wise because it just gets messy. It gets messy with like family histories, the society, the ex-boyfriend and Riot. Yeah, it's a lot of messiness in here, but like in a good way, but also then it got to be like a little too much in a bad way for me. But I will just say this is definitely darker, extremely toxic. If you liked Lords of Pain by Samantha Rue and Angel Lawson, I think you will probably like this, because like kind of similar-ish concept, kind of similar situations between our main characters, if you know what I'm saying. So definitely check triggers on this one as well, because it is much more on the darker side of some blurred lines, I'd say. Again, I love dark romance, so I didn't, like nothing in here shocked me, to be honest. And yeah, spice was great, plot was messy. Yeah, it was fine. Now this though, this is what pulled me out of my slump. The Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. It consists of 5 books. I'm going to kind of talk about them all together because I don't really see the point in talking about them individually, because I read them all back to back to back to back to back. So good. Like if you read anything from this video besides the book that I'm going to get to at the end, this should be it. This was so fantastic. So this one, it's 5 books, like I said, but they're all like novella-ish length. They're all maybe around like 100 to 100 and like 20-50 pages, so definitely like very bingeable, and they all end on cliffhangers, so very easy to just jump right into the next book. Very fast paced. Oh, I can't say enough good things. This one follows Lana, and she is a serial killer, and she starts dating an FBI profiler, Logan, and he is actually profiling her case. Like he is trying to catch her, and she's aware that he's a FBI agent, but he is not aware that she's the serial killer that he's hunting. Oh, y'all, I'm so unwell after reading this. Like, I already want to reread it. Lana is easily one of my favorite heroines that I've ever read. This is a dark series, okay? Obviously, we're talking about a serial killer. Lana's backstory. She has her reasons for hunting down these people and killing them, and the whole time I'm just sitting there like, so proud of you. Good job, Lana. So, I mean, I was totally on her side, as I think a lot of people who read this would be. But anyways, her backstory is very dark, so obviously, when it's dealing with like murder and stuff, I think you can get the gist that it's gonna be dark. But she's so smart, she's so resilient, she's so fun to read. Like, she has this one confrontation with, I mean, like, all of her confrontations are awesome, but she has this one confrontation in particular where she's just like letting this man think that he's going to win, and then she just like kicks his ass. I loved it. I loved this series so freaking much. Like, honestly, one of my favorite things I read all month. This and the book that I'm gonna get to at the end of this video that I read at the end of the month. Oh my God, if you haven't read it yet, go read it. It was, just so freaking fantastic. Okay, next I jumped into another shorter one to kind of keep me on this momentum, and I jumped into Barbarian Mine by Ruby Dixon. This is the 4th book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. This is the series that I go to whenever I'm feeling slumpy, because they're quicker reads. They're like, what, 250 pages or like less. They're normally quick reads, and it's something completely different. It's sci-fi romance, the men are aliens, like it gets me out of the slump, and they're a vibe. Actually, I think this one might be one of my favorites I've read. Like, I really loved Harlow and Rook in this. These can be read as standalones, but I would say like start at the beginning of the series if you're going to, because they're companions, like they follow different couples, but you get like more background knowledge in the earlier ones about how all of these human women ended up on Not Hoth with these aliens, and like how they all become mates and stuff. But anyways, fun time. Harlow is given like a second chance at life when she lands on Not Hoth, because she had some health complications that now on Not Hoth she's like not having to deal with. She is abducted by a rogue member of the, what are they called? The Blue Aliens. From the Blue Aliens. He's like off on his own. He's not a part of their like tribe, but he resonates with her, which is like what happens when they're mates. And he takes her away, and then they start living by themselves, whatever. There's like reasons why Harlow doesn't go back. There's reasons why Rook doesn't go back that they work through towards the end of the book. But anyways, it's like captor-captive, forced proximity, mates. They don't speak the same language because Rook doesn't even like talk. So she has to like teach him how to talk. It was so good. It was so enjoyable. This series is just like what I need sometimes. They're just fun. There's such like, there's no other woman drama. There's no like unnecessary drama just for the sake of drama. It's just like fun times with heroes that are absolute simps. And I don't know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Whew. So I had said I wanted to read some more by Ashley Jade after I read The Words last month. So I picked up The Devil. I don't know what the hell I read, but I liked it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I'm literally not even going to say anything about the premise, because truly I don't even think I could really explain it to you. And the blurb is very vague, and I do think that when people said like you have to go in blind, I do really agree that you have to go in blind. So all I'll say is that it's definitely on the darker side. There's a big age gap. Maybe are we heading towards Minaj area in the second one? I don't know. It's like MF, MM, MFM. Guys, I really don't know where we're headed with it, but the ending of this had me rethinking everything that I had read. It was good. Just like trust me when I say that it was good. It was enjoyable. I have already started the second book, but I'm not gonna finish it. Today's the last day of February. There's no way I'm finishing it before this wrap up, but I've already started the second book, and I'm just anxious to see where this goes. It's like a fresh addition when in romance, like, you know, there's always going to be a happily ever after. So it's like nice to be like really thrown back by something. Okay, next I read a student teacher book, because y'all know here, I love student teacher. And I read Unteachable by Leah Rader. So this one was gifted to me by my friend Nikki. So sweet for her to send this to me. I know she loves this book, and she was like, you need to read it. And I had it on my TBR for a while, and then when she sent it, I was like, done, I'm starting it right now. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. It is student teacher. However, these two, they don't care. They don't care that they're student teacher. Like, they don't ever try to stop their relationship. It's kind of like they find out that they're student teacher, and then they're like, okay. So that was the only thing. We'll get into that more. I'm getting ahead of myself. This one follows Maze and Evan, which it's not the author's fault, but Evan is my brother's name. And that was something that was very hard to get past. just for me. Like, I'm glad that this is the first time that I've ever run into this issue, because I don't ever want to read another hero with the name Evan, because it's just weird. So I was very happy that he was often referred to as his, like, Mr. Wilkie. I was very glad that he was often referred to as that. And I just like would substitute out in his name or just like slide right by it, because I'm like, I don't want to process what his name is. But anyways, this one follows Maze and Evan, and it's the summer before Maze's senior year, and she goes to a carnival one night all by herself. She's kind of like a bit of a loner, and she goes to a carnival, and on a roller coaster, she gets sat next to this one dude. They have fun on the ride. They kind of hit it off, and then they end up spending the rest of the night together. And then when she walks into school, when school starts, and she walks into her new film class, guess who her new teacher is? Mr. Wilkie. And yeah, it goes from there. So the only thing with this, why student teacher is one of my favorite tropes, is because it's like forbidden, it's angsty, there's so much like denying of the feelings and like the relationship, and so much like tension because of that, of being like, we can't be together, we're gonna be caught, like the morality of it all. These two were just like, don't care, just flew right past all of that. So there was no like pining after that, which I really missed. However, the writing style of this was beautiful. It's very visual. Like, I very instantly clicked with her writing. This is the first time that I've ever read anything by this author. And immediately, like, I was just very drawn into the writing style. Yeah, negative points for hero's name and no pining and no caring about the forbiddenness of their relationship, but points for the writing style. So overall, I liked it. A really solid student teacher read. Okay, next up, I finally read the dark romance that I've been meaning to get around to for so long, and that is Too Late by Colleen Hoover. So Sonia, I finally read this. I finally read this, girl. She sent this to me a long time ago, and this has been on like so many TBRs, and I finally got around to it this month. And I will just say, I'm so happy that I did. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it. It's a love triangle, college, dark, toxic. Yeah, I won't say much more. It follows Asa, Sloane, and Carter. I will not say much plot-wise. Even the back of this book does not really give away much of the plot. And again, kind of similar lines with The Devil. I do think that you need to go into this just kind of blind, not really knowing what to expect, because I do think that it's best that way. So I'm not really going to go into plot details, but just know that this is definitely a darker romance. Definitely has some themes of like domestic abuse in it. I really can't say much more. The reason it got 4 out of 5 stars was I'm not sure how I love one of the characters' mental health portrayed in this. Not 100% sure I'm on board with the potential direction of it. I don't know. So that's why it got 4 stars for me, because I'm just not sure what Colleen Hoover was trying to go for with this character. And if it's in a certain way, I'm not sure that I appreciated that. But I don't know. So that kind of like gray area, like that kind of at the end, like got me too much in my head of thinking about like what's going on here. I don't know. I don't want to say anything without spoiling it, but I did really enjoy it. And if you love dark romance and you love Colleen Hoover, definitely give this a try. Now, the best book that I read this month. This will be on my top 10 of 2022 list. James and Gabrielle have had me in a chokehold since I read this novella last year, and the expanded version of it did not disappoint. QB, you did something here with the 2 of these characters, and oh my God, I ate up every single second of it. Always Been You by QB Tyler. This comes out on Thursday, March 3rd, but this video is gonna be up beforehand, so make sure that you get it when it comes out on release day. I got an arc of it, and if you follow me on Instagram, you already saw me on my stories when I finished this. I was unwell because I was just so blown away. 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite taboo books I've ever read in my entire life. My favorite QB Tyler book ever. It was like perfection. So this one follows James and Gabrielle. So it's adopted siblings, taboo, age gap, interracial couple, so much goodness. So yes, like I said, adopted siblings, no blood relation, but I've already talked about this book before, but let's chat about it again. So Gabrielle was adopted by the Calloway family when she was 2 years old and was raised with them and the Calloway. So the parents have 2 children already, 2 biological children. James James and Monica, and then they struggle conceiving a third, so they adopt Gabrielle. But James and Monica are already quite a bit older. Like what is it? Is it 11 years? An 11-year age gap? Because I'm pretty sure James is 30 and Gabrielle is 18. Or is he 29? It's like 11 years, I think, around that mark. But anyways, and Gabrielle is now a freshman at college in New York City. She just finishes up her first semester, and her and James are getting ready to go home for the holidays, which is where like the novella kind of takes place. And they have both been pining over one another, but they refuse to act on their feelings. But then the night before they head home for Christmas, they just can't not act on it anymore. And I was like, please do. When they're like, we shouldn't do this, I'm like, but you should because I want it. And oh my God. So if you read the novella, trust me, still read the expanded version. Like, I did not feel like I was reading it like verbatim, reading the same like stuff over and over again that we already got. There is so much character backstory, especially with Gabrielle, that's included with this that I really loved getting. There's like a scene in here that like had me tearing up. It was so good. So well done. So sad for her, but like a very pivotal moment in her life and for her and James's relationship. And there's just so much expanded, so much more with the family. We get to see a lot more of Monica. We get to see a lot more of the parents, which I really wanted. Like everything that I wanted expanded in here was included in here. So definitely still read it, even if you read the novella. Like I promise you, you're not getting like the same stuff just regurgitated back at you. And also just the spice in this. So hot. Like some books have high level of spice, but I don't necessarily think that they're hot. This had high levels of spice, and this was so fucking hot. I literally can't get enough of this book. I will be buying like the paperback version on release day, so they have a paperback, and then alternative cover is so pretty too, and that's in hardcover, so I will be getting both because I need both these. I'm so obsessed with this book. I can't get over it. Loved that. Now let's jump to my least favorite book this month, and that is Normal People by Sally Rooney. We read this for my book club that I have with some friends. The writing style was just not for me. I think I don't even care to synopsize this. It's about these two people, and I don't know, they're fine, whatever. They have a lot of miscommunication issues. There's no quotation marks. The writing style was not for me. I don't think the story was necessarily bad, but it's so sparse that I'm like, I don't even feel like I know either of these two characters. I don't feel connected to them. I don't like the writing style. I do definitely want to check out the show. I think the show would be the better medium for me to consume the story of these two characters, but in this, not so much. I do think it made for like good chatting. Like every week we had stuff to talk about with it, but me personally, it's a no. Okay, last two. I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. So this is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. The second one just came out. I will eventually read that, but I don't feel like it right now, so I'm not going to. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I thought this was really great. It's grumpy sunshine, workplace, boss, employee, interracial couple. So, like, is there an age gap? Maybe a tiny bit, but I don't think that's, like, really talked about much. I don't think that's, like, really focused on. But anyways, this one follows Rowan and Zahara. So Zahara is a Dreamland worker. She's like a bright ray of sunshine, and she has always dreamed of being a creator at Dreamland, which is, like, an Imagineer at Disney. She's always wanted to be a creator, but she's works in, like, their bippity-boppity boutique. I forgot what it's called, but it's, like, that. They, like, make over the princesses for the parks, you know, like the kid princesses. And one night she drunkenly submits like a project proposal, and she ends up getting a job as a creator, which is now going to be overseen by Rowan. So Rowan is the grandson of the creator of Dreamland, and his grandfather passes away, and in order for him and his 3 brothers to get their shares of the company, they each have to complete a certain task that they get in a letter. And Rowan's task is that he has to become a director and fix a problem in Dreamland or something, or like elevate it or something. So anyways, he takes on this new director role and moves to Florida in the meantime because he lives in Chicago if he wants to get his shares and be the CFO of the company. So when he arrives, he is immediately put off by Zahara and like her sunny exterior because he's just this big grump, but they start working together. you know, they can't deny they're immediately like attracted to each other, but their energies are just like very opposite. So I loved this. I thought it was great. I'm a former cast member from Disney. I did the Disney College program, and I just loved being in this whole kind of like world where it's like, I know this is Disney, but it's dreamland on here. Like even things like the spooky mansion or the spooky castle, I'm like, the Haunted Mansion? And like describing that ride, I'm like, that's literally the Haunted Mansion. Like, it was just cool. I loved that aspect of it. I love the grumpy sunshine trope. I love the boss employee trope. I loved Zahara. I really liked her as a character. Rowan was like fine. I was kind of like, you're not my favorite. You're kind of like every other grumpy dude, but Zahara, I really did like her, and I liked her like friendship with her roommate and her dreams, and like how she had gotten burned before on her ideas, but that didn't like stop her from still pursuing her dreams. It worked for me. I liked it a lot. And lastly, which technically I haven't finished yet, I have 27 minutes. I know I'm gonna finish it after I'm done recording this, but Barbarian Holiday by Ruby Dixon. So this is like an in-between book between this and the next book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series, and honestly, I'm not vibing. It's probably gonna be a 3-star, really low 3-star. It's just kind of pointless. It's like Georgie being pregnant, who's our heroine from the first book, and like them making a holiday on Not Hoth and like trying to make some sort of like tradition. And then with Claire and her kind of drama with her alien man that she's not even like mated with. I don't know. It just kind of seems like a filler book. I'm not really, like, it's fine. It's very short. It's only like what, 140 pages. So I'm almost done with it. I think it's fine, but definitely nothing like necessary or special so far, at least from what I've seen. Right, was that all 16? I think it was. That was the 16 books I read this month. I know what you guys are thinking. Where's Crescent City House of Sky and Breath? It's right here, guys. I'm working my way through it. Just like I said, I have not been like very motivated this month to be reading like a lot of really heavy stuff. And this is 800 pages. And honestly, I'm on chapter 27. I'm on page 298. It doesn't feel like Sarah J. Maas yet. I don't know. I'm not like, it's fine, but I'm not loving it. It's also making me feel very dumb. I should have reread the first one, but it's making me feel so stupid sometimes. It's fine. Please don't spoil anything for me yet. I still love Bryson Hunt. I love Rune. I'm really loving him. So I'm liking it. It's just I'm not loving it, but I will finish it obviously in March, but I don't have it done for this month. That is it for today. Remember, Always Been You comes out on Thursday. Make sure y'all pick it up. And that's it from me, and I will see you when I see you.